everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
Well, so what? Yeah.
But what's wrong with being sexy? I mean, there's no trouble with
Sexist.
That introduction taken from a live studio audience.
Welcome to The Now, I'm Ashley Jenkins.
I'm Meg Turney.
Hopes are high for Battlefield 1 this fall, but some gamers are taking issue with one recent development about its multiplayer, which will not be adding female playable characters.
People were absolutely hyped about the Battlefield release. Who are you talking about that was complaining?
That's certainly not new for the series, as it hasn't had any playable women in multiplayer yet. Anyway, you know, why not?
It's Battlefield 1, like you've always had it, but it's time to get angry.
It's so, you know what, never mind. The internet just gets riled up about things. I'm gonna stay out of it this time.
Are you gonna stay out of it? Because you're making a video about it. Doesn't really seem like you're gonna stay out of it.
And brewing about whether or not the exclusion makes sense in this case.
Now look, we're gonna look at both sides of this. Some are saying that it's an issue of authenticity, that women weren't a major part of World War I combat, so that's why there aren't really any playable women in multiplayer.
However, others are saying multiplayer combat in general isn't all that realistic, so why should it matter?
Well, that aspect of multiplayer gaming is pretty realistic, and I, for one, wouldn't want to be plunging a knife in a takedown into a female character. And isn't it a good thing that male gamers maybe don't want to brutally take down female characters, considering the Punch Anita Sarkeesian game controversy where you could beat up a crazy feminist? I mean, come on, we should be looking at this as progress.
DICE, who tweeted about an internal discussion of the company when it came to adding women in the multiplayer.
Now, according to her, the game was originally going to have women in multiplayer, but the decision was later reversed. She tweeted, "The original BF1 pitch given on stage was World War I with one caveat. Screw realism, we're adding female soldiers because we're way overdue."
DICE later changed its mind because it wanted to focus on authenticity. However, it came out later that the real reason was the boys wouldn't find women in multiplayer very believable.
Aha, so based on those 27 likes, those were the people that were upset about no female characters in Battlefield 1. But I wanted to be fair and check what the current like count was, and it's a grand total of 32. Also, if you look at that bottom tweet, hopefully we got some badass POCs in the SP. So it looks like they're just trying to inject as much SJW, PC, BS into the game as much as they can get away with anyways. I mean, the developers are DICE Sweden, after all.
You look at what's happening last night in Sweden. Sweden. Who would believe this? Sweden.
Interesting gameplay aspects of World War I that makes the game feel so unique. And they really are sticking with it. YouTube series The Great War, which is a show totally dedicated to World War I, which you should watch, did a special episode just taking apart the game's reveal trailer. All in all, despite a few little flubs, they found it to be really surprisingly incredibly accurate and authentic. They even congratulated DICE on picking out details that largely go unnoticed about World War I. Now, the flip side of this argument is that the multiplayer matches require some suspension of disbelief in general. Multiplayer combat in and of itself is pretty unrealistic. I think we can all admit that. So adding female characters doesn't break the illusion in any way. Well, players for the most part accept that multiplayer doesn't reflect the authenticity or believability of any particular game. For instance, in Halo, there's basically no story reason for one group of Spartans to be fighting another in multiplayer. That's how we started an entire series. Yes. And the same goes for any Battlefield game. Every time Japan loses on Wake Island, you're basically breaking history. But we just roll with it because, hey, it's multiplayer, and we understand that it has no bearing or basis in the actual events of the game or story. This is the same from a gameplay perspective, too. There's often abilities that are totally missing in multiplayer that we can do in the main game, but they would be kind of game-breaking in deathmatch, so we just let them go. Yes. So adding female playable characters isn't really that big of a stretch if you're thinking about it that way, especially when you're talking about an online environment with other methods of customization. But when we're talking about accuracy and authenticity, putting women on the battlefield, no pun intended, well, maybe pun intended, was an actual thing that did happen in World War I. So the authenticity angle might not even make that much sense here. A number of world powers incorporated women into their armed forces, including the Ottoman Empire, Russia, and even the US Navy.
Very nice words, but happens to be wrong. Wrong.
100% fake news. From Wikipedia. During the war, there were some stories that Ottoman women, besides providing nursery services, also took main roles in combat. A Telegraph Press Association news report says a Turkish girl was discovered sniping. She had round her neck 30 identification discs of the men she had shot and 50 pounds in English money. However, these stories have mostly been discredited, and it's very unlikely that any women actually fought for the Ottoman Empire. The Russian army did make a women's battalion that numbered about 5,000, but this was mostly for propaganda value and was quickly disbanded after only one unit being sent to the front and very limited fighting being done. Russia is really the only faction to have deployed female soldiers in frontline combat, so it'll be interesting to see whether or not the female character will be included as part of the DLC in the name of the Tsar.
So if you're really going for realism here, guys, maybe those armies should have playable women.
The main role that women played in World War I was mostly as a replacement for factory workers to keep the war machines up and running. There are instances of females in combat, but they were primarily females that were impersonating men, kind of like Victoria Savs. She enlisted in the Imperial Austrian Army in the guise of a man. Her biological sex was only discovered in 1917 when, due to injury, she had to get her leg amputated. Besides, did you just assume these avatars' gender? Unreal.
All that out of the equation, it's 2016.
Because it's 2015.
And of course, that's their prerogative. That's their character. They can do whatever they want with it. But it's also the prerogative of players who want to have a say in the look of their avatar. According to research published by Syracuse University back in 2014, at least 23% of all men choose women as their avatars in MMOs. Most of them are Jack.
Yeah, why would you want to look at a butt of a dude when you could be looking at a butt of a chick?
I don't know, but the butts of the dudes are pretty great.
In games, it can be as simple as the in-game camera resting so that a character's butt or breasts or both are center line. It can be a cutscene that rests on a woman's butt. It can be clothing that they are wearing or the way they talk. Or it can be as basic as the way a female character moves around the game world. The male gaze reinforces the notion that man looks and the woman is looked at.
So wait a minute, I got these feminists telling me that it's a good thing to have female avatars so we can look at their butts, and we got other ones saying that this is the male gaze and that's so sexist to even think of.
On the subject of player customization, though, we also have data that gamers are split 50-50 now in terms of gender, so maybe it doesn't hurt developers to give players just an option here or there.
Okay, so here's the actual breakdown of gender ratios by genre of game. And if you look at the genres that Battlefield 1 could fall into, it's between 4 and 7%, whether or not you're classifying it as a tactical shooter or just a regular first-person shooter. Really, that 50-50 statistic is because Farmville is bringing up the female gamer percentage.
For instance, BioWare just unveiled that the canonical main character of Andromeda is the femme version of the character. You'll be able to choose, of course, just like you had a choice in the Mass Effect trilogy, where Male Shep was the canonical Shepard. He was the one in all the box arts and all that stuff, even though they had that contest for the Femme Shep cover for, like, whatever happened to that? Did she end up on a cover? Did she ever get a cover? I don't know. She's like the Chris O'Coulihan. Oh, she's the reverse. Gotcha. Got it. She was on the back. She got the back. Girl, you on the plastic. Of course, no matter how all this shakes out, we know that there will continue to be gamers on both sides of the issue. If DICE insists that authenticity is of the utmost importance, you can really hardly fault him for it, although having women make the game inauthentic.
Wrong. But you also can't blame players for wanting more choices because, come on, we love us some customization.
I just want to be a pecky, like, nurse in the field. Hey guys, who needs a bandage?
Alright guys, I'm not even gonna say anything about that.
Leave all sorts of vitriol in the comments down below.
Thanks for watching guys. If you liked it, hit that like button and subscribe. If you didn't, leave a comment, let me know why.